Welcome to Let Freedom Ring. This episode is going to be dedicated to the memory of Granville Adams, who played Zaire Arif on one of my favorite shows, Oz, which you can still find on HBO On Demand. But anyways, we got security here. We're keeping Soapy Pre-Op out of the studio as usual. But my guest from the Feuding Factions podcast, Will Duncan. Will, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Dan.
Yeah.
It's an honor.
No, good to have you. We go way back, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Probably to like Nashville Boys and Girls Club Wrestling.
Yeah, I'd say almost 20, 25 years at least.
Yeah.
I would say my older brothers are 6 and 8 years older than me.
Yeah.
And yeah, so probably since,
Yeah.
Girls Club Wrestling.
Long time.
Yeah, long time. Yeah.
But let's get to know you a little bit.
Sure.
Where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
I'm born and raised in the great city of Nashua, New Hampshire. Currently living in just north in Merrimack with wife and our 2 dogs, and yeah.
Awesome. And shout out to Cassie. I used to run summer camp with her as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, I was going to say, a small world,
Back in
literally.
the day. Now, we used to ask on the show, what's one thing everyone should know about you? I felt like that wasn't enough to really get to know the guests a little bit. But what's 3 things everybody should know about you?
Ooh, 3 things. I will never say no to a slice of pepperoni pizza. Probably the one thing I can't turn down. I'm a Disney adult, so I grew up. I don't think I went to like Disney World or anything until I was in like 6th or 7th grade, and I've probably been back at least half a dozen times since.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I love it. There's just something magical about it. I'm going in a couple weeks actually for a long weekend. So yeah, I love love roller coasters, love amusements. It's a fun time. And the other thing, I mean, if you know me, you probably know I'm a huge fan of video games. I've grown up with them pretty much my entire life. And I know a lot of history about them. And one of the cool things is when I was younger, I actually got to do a job shadow for Harmonix. They're a video game developer in Boston. They're the people who created, if you remember, Guitar Hero, and Rock Band.
Love it.
Yeah. So I actually, when I was younger, went there, did a job shadow. I got to see Rock Band before it was even like announced.
Wow.
So it was really cool. Had to sign the NDA and everything, and it was for a school project, so like I couldn't talk about it. So that was really fun. I thought it was really cool, and just one of those things that has made me a lifelong fan. Yeah.
See, and I'm not a big video games guy. Mm-hmm. Like, I got cut off after Sega.
Yeah.
I loved Sports Talk Baseball 93.
Mm-hmm.
I would, if that was in front of me right now, I'd play it.
Yeah.
But I love Rock Band.
Yep.
That is like the game I like.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's really cool you got to see that
before,
because honestly, I'm not saying I'm good at it, but you get a group of friends going.
It's a blast. It's a blast. You get a group of people together who aren't typically even like you said, a gamer or even somebody who likes that kind of challenge, but you get them together. It's a great social thing, and it's fun. I go to they didn't do it this year due to the pandemic, but PAX East video game convention, and they have rooms set up in stages with people who with setups to play the different games and stuff, and you can go and you can meet people who you've never wouldn't typically meet in a normal kind of setting, and hang out and play games and socialize and make new friends, and it's a blast. So it's awesome.
That's awesome. That is super cool. Mm-hmm. Now, sticking with the theme of the show, which is Let Freedom Ring,
mm-hmm.
I might have to put that on a shirt someday.
Yeah, banner.
Just sticking with the theme of the show, But it is Let Freedom Ring. What does it mean to you to be an American?
Oh, that's a loaded question. To me, America has always been, I see it as, land of opportunity, life, liberty, and the pursuit of justice. Not pursuit of justice, pursuit of happiness. Yeah. My inner Batman came out for a second there, sorry. In the pursuit of happiness. And I really think about it in that means of pursuit. Like, everybody has the opportunity to get to that point, and we all go through different things in life. And the thing that, to me, is we have that opportunity, and we have to take advantage of it. We have to grab at it. You have to pursue it and make make this of what life has handed to you. Because there are, countries in this world where, your opportunities aren't there based on your sex or the color of your skin or your sexual preferences or anything, a multitude of things. So I really do think that, we're not perfect, but America has, the ability to be, the leader in people being able to, do something great with what they have.
I like that. It's a very complete answer, and we get a lot of different answers on
Yeah,
that question.
like I said, I can imagine everyone's different.
It means a lot of different things to a lot of people. So, but great answer. I like that a lot. Let's just get into current events because this is the big one on the table. If you're a sports fan, you're hearing about Jon Gruden and his emails.
Oh yeah.
Any take on that? He's now been. I don't know if
he wasn't even removed. No,
I don't know if he did that on his own. Yeah.
So I mean, first off, Urban Meyer must be feeling a wave of relief. He's like, "Wow, okay, Jon, thanks for that." No, I think I mean it's sickening to see somebody who is in that kind of position of power to go and do that he did and say the things that he said, especially through such an official channel,
like on an email,
like his corporate email. It's like, like I work in IT, like people can see what you're saying. Like it's not, it's not it's not, completely secret. And like that's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, you've got freedom of speech, but you don't necessarily have freedom from consequence. And to me, like that is just one of those things where it's, coming back to bite him, even though he should have been doing the right thing in the first place. He shouldn't have never been saying those things or doing those things that he did. And between, like the homophobic remarks or the racist remarks or the, even the things with cheerleaders that I won't get into, despicable kind of things. That's just, a total abuse of power.
And I mean, he on the Raiders, they have the first. I guess Michael Sam is not the first openly gay player because I guess he didn't make the roster.
I don't remember.
I'm not sure, but he has an openly gay player.
I think he was the first drafted.
Drafted, okay.
Yeah.
So I forget the guy's name. It's slipping me right now, but I guess he took a personal day and things. So that's very hard when you are in a place of power to have those beliefs or I don't even know I don't know if Jon Gruden is a homophobe or racist. He said those things.
Yeah, though. Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, oh, like the locker talk or whatever, or this or that, and still those things they're documented. It's one of those things where it's like, well, you can't take that back, in the context of of what you did. So yeah.
Now I get into this argument with a lot of people because I do believe that cancel culture is a thing because sometimes I think they railroad people that maybe don't deserve it. I don't know if this falls in that category.
In this category, I think that this is one of those things where it is, completely applicable to that, because he was saying very, very hurtful, very hateful things. It wasn't him merely joking, to an extent. And I mean, cancel culture. There's a very it's a dangerous thing. I don't know, like if you've heard about Hana Kimura. She was a female professional wrestler from Japan. She went on a Japanese reality show, and basically got in an argument with one of the other cast members. I think she like shrank somebody's clothes in the wash or something like that. Yeah. And the cancel culture of that fandom kind of came after her, and to the point where she was so embarrassed, so overwhelmed, she wound up dying by suicide.
I did hear about this. Yes, so, now that
so it's really sad. That there is, everything can be taken too far. for better or worse. And this is one of those cases of worse.
Yeah, I was getting into now. I don't think Jon Gruden is canceled. He's being held accountable for things he said, and like you said in an email, nothing really is private, especially when it's your work email.
Oh yeah.
But I do think there is times where, like you said, because some people are like, cancel culture is not even a real thing. I'm like, but it is. I do believe it is, but I don't think this falls into the category.
Yeah, I think there's a fine line between cancel culture and accountability.
Yes.
And I think he crossed that into accountability, and his character is definitely hurting for that.
I 100% agree with that. And, I don't know if this is the last we ever hear from Jon Gruden. He said they never meant to hurt anybody. I do think we're seeing a generational shift. You're not going to see people our age talking like that in emails.
No.
And if they do, they're an idiot, much like Jon Gruden. But
yeah. And like I said, it's such a sensitive topic. I mean, even look at now coming out of the headlines again. Dave Chappelle, his new stand-up special came out, I think, a couple days ago, and employees at Netflix are staging a walkout because of some of his views and jokes that he makes in that special. I haven't watched it myself, but that is where we're at as within our society at this point. It's a very temperamental kind of fine line.
Yeah, and I haven't seen it, but I know a little bit of what was said. I don't always disagree with Dave Chappelle, but I don't think you can compare discrimination to one group and another group.
Yeah.
That's where it's like, oh, well, they haven't had it as bad as we have.
Yeah.
Like, I don't agree with the comparison.
No.
That doesn't make it. I think some of the jokes that he's made against the transgender community, some are funny, some are not. Some are, I do think you should still be able to make jokes. But now it's getting into, well, I made that joke because they don't have it as bad as I do. I don't think that's fair.
I mean, I think, again, I don't really think that I have the, life experiences to comment it.
Yeah, not me
comment
personally.
On it well, yeah. But my thought is that, there's marginalized groups of people, and if that's if they feel like that is not okay to them, then who am I to judge?
Exactly. Yes.
So, if Dave Chappelle thinks that's all right for, him being, having jokes made about, his culture or his lifestyle, that's one thing. But if somebody else who doesn't share the same, demographics as him thinks that that's, an issue, and that is completely their right. And that is one of the things that makes this, country what it is that we can go and, have our differences of opinions and still be able to coexist, to a degree.
No, I think that's a good way to put it. I 100% agree. One other big, kind of a cool current event, Boston Marathon.
Yeah.
People back on the track.
Yeah, first time in what was it, 900 days or something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Was that cool to see? I know not everybody. I think some people still chose to do it virtual. But, I mean, that is like part of being like a New Englander is the Boston Marathon.
So I actually got my first experience with the Boston Marathon, I want to say 2018. The company I was working for had multiple people working, actually running it that day. So a couple people from my team that I was working on and myself, we went down to the race right at Heartbreak Hill. And since we were part of, a sales and marketing team, we actually brought, video equipment with us and, shot some of the race and stuff. And it was neat to see too, because there's just so many people coming together to cheer on, everybody. And it was funny because I wasn't even planning on seeing it, but my wife's cousin was actually running it, for the first time, and saw her and got to wave her and was like, keep going. And it was a nice surprise. So it's electric. It's unlike anything that I ever would have thought about, and being something that I want to ever take part in, and it's really cool. It's something else. And like how fast, the elite of the elite can run.
Unreal.
26.2 miles. I looked, and like the top finishers, I think the top men were done in less than 2 hours and 15 minutes. And the top women, like maybe 10 minutes slower. That is amazing. Like that, that's something like a 5-minute mile consistently for 26, almost 27 miles. Or 27 miles. I can't do that on my road bike. My my road bike, I can do a 5-minute mile. I can't keep that pace for 2 hours. So that's incredible. And I think the spirit of it coming back. I think it has such a meaning to the community now that it's definitely here to stay, and I think it'll only get bigger as years go on.
It was so great to see it back, and that just brings me to, I do the Tough Ruck every year, which is part of the Boston Marathon.
Yeah.
Raising money for Gold Star families, and I love being a part of that. We walked 26.2 with weight on our back.
Yeah.
All I can say to the Tough Ruck, I love you. Let's get back on the track next year, because the app that you had me use, pretty sure that I walked 30 plus miles and felt broken at the end there this year.
Yeah.
I'm still going to do it. I love the cause. But Tough Ruck, let's get back on the track. It's time. But anyways, let's talk a little bit about your podcast, the Feuding Factions podcast. And you also do, now is the video game review, is that separate from the actual podcast?
They are two different things.
Okay.
So I've got two different, creative endeavors. The one is the Feuding Factions podcast. That is a extension, spin-off, I guess you could say, of my friend Brian Lafferty, his brand Battle Wounds Apparel. So he's had this brand for several years, and he sponsors combat sports athletes, so boxers, MMA fighters.
I think I've heard of him
professional
before.
wrestlers. Yeah. And he goes to a lot of different events. Back in 2019, he actually started a podcast to go along with it. And after a few episodes, myself and then another one of my friends, Dan Carruth, who I've been friends with now for a decade plus. I worked with him when I was younger, and I've just kept in touch throughout the years. Got together and started talking about just things that we were interested in. We all had the common love of professional wrestling. Yep, culture, movies, sports, all of the above. A lot of what you see and hear here. So yeah, it's great. We're on. We just kind of did a spinoff into the Feuding Factions podcast to be more of a separate brand. And we've been, breaking out into YouTube, and the podcast is on Anchor, so you can get it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I think and you can grab the RSS feed and add it to whatever app you use. So, yeah, it's pretty good.
Awesome. Now, how long have you been doing this now?
So, the Feuding Factions podcast started earlier this year. But like I mentioned, it's a continuation of that previous setup that we had. So I've been doing it for a few years now, off and on. In terms of YouTube, so I've got I manage the channel for the podcast, and I also have my personal YouTube channel, which is called Slam Duncan. It is mainly based on video games, different reviews, so reviews of games, reviews of hardware, accessories, things like controllers. One thing I also do is kind of when I see new games and things being announced, I will go and take the first pieces of content that I see from it, whether it be a trailer or announcement or something, and I go and I analyze it, and I try to say like, hey, these are things I think would make this game successful or enjoyable, or something that you would want in that game. So for instance, like they announced there's a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game coming next year. Yeah. So I went through and listed off like things I would want to see, like unlockable characters like Master Splinter and April O'Neil and Casey Jones.
You need Casey Jones.
Yeah, so things like that. And it's gotten a bit of traction. It's I think we as of a couple days ago, it was over 230 subscribers.
Okay.
And it's been a few weeks since I posted a video. That's going to change. A little busy with work, a little busy with home life and stuff. So, but getting back into it, and yeah, it's really enjoyable. Like I said before we went on the air, I have some experience through my job doing content creation and editing and things like that. So it's become a pretty nice little hobby of mine.
No, I've watched one of your videos and was like, man, Will is professional. Like you can come off very professional and well spoken on there.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty impressive. And like you said, so the following is kind of growing. No, what's your favorite part of doing these things?
You know, I'd love to say it was like, you know, the editing or, you know, whatever, but like, obviously I do it out of a love for these these things like video games and wrestling. And so it's it's a creative output of the things I already like. So I think I love seeing especially like with my videos, I love seeing the final product of it and seeing people give me feedback and, you know, hey, this is great, or hey, maybe next time try that a little bit differently. That's really cool. And just to see it like the process, and once it's all together, yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, you do a really good job. So definitely check that out. So Feuding Factions podcast. And what was the YouTube channel again?
Slam Duncan.
Slam Duncan.
Yep.
All right, well, let's talk a little wrestling, because we all know that I love to have wrestling fans on the show, obviously. Big moment for me the other day. I have been a fan of, and you've been a fan of Chaotic Wrestling.
Yep. Chaotic Wrestling.
Christian Casanova, now Carmelo Hayes, is your new NXT North American champion. What are your thoughts on that? It's really cool seeing him on TV.
Yeah. I mean, it's surprising just from the way that NXT 2.0 is going. It really kind of shocked me, because leading up to, you know, that night, he had been doing these segments where he kind of comes in after a match or something and kind of says like, hey, I'm here, I've got this contract, you know, be ready, because he did it with MSK and was it Imperium the other week with the tag team titles. And, you know, pairing him with is his name Trick Williams?
I think so. Yeah.
With that, you think, oh, okay, they're pairing him up to be a tag team. And then seeing that, okay, he comes out, he helps Swerve and, you know, runs off. Was it Imperium?
The other night?
Yeah.
Oh, God, what's their names? They just got drafted to SmackDown. Oh, wow.
Hit Row. Yeah, they come out and help Hit Row, yeah.
Great draft for SmackDown, by the way. Get the show spicing up a little bit.
I think it was the thing that was surprising to me is that, like, yeah, Swerve got that victory, and then he kind of immediately cashes in, beats him. That's one of those new things, I think, about the new version of NXT, that they're doing those kind of more traditional WWE swerves, like with the contract and stuff like that. It kind of reminded me of when Dolph Ziggler cashed in his Money in the Bank years ago on Del Rio, and kind of similar payoff to that. So I do think that Carmelo Hayes, the former Christian Casanova, I think he's going to do big things.
I always thought he was going to be a star. You just saw him, and you're like, how athletic he is. He's got the look. Because we always compared him to Anthony Green, and Green got signed first. Now he's already released. We want to see. I want to see him do big things too. Yep. But I always thought Christian was really the one out of that group, out of the New England Pro Wrestling Academy around those times, that was going to get to the next level.
Yep. And I mean, he's super talented. As is, Retro AG. He's been on AEW
quite a
Dark
bit now.
A couple times.
He was actually on Dynamite.
Oh, he was.
He actually took a Scorpion Death Drop from Sting.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, I think that'll be interesting to see where they go, especially with this new direction. And I mean, even like with the main event and Tommaso Ciampa and Braun Breaker, who is that's Scott Steiner's son, correct?
Rick Steiner's.
Rick Steiner's. Okay, yeah. I was like, it was one of the Steiner.
His real
brothers.
name is like Rex Steiner.
Yeah,
which
so
is
it's
a
like,
pretty cool name.
Yeah, I was just be like, why would you change that? I'm like, it's instant name recognition. So, but that's just me.
Just on that point, because I did think about this a little bit. I was listening to Eric Bischoff the other day on the 83 Weeks podcast. I don't have a problem with the Breaker name. You don't want to use Steiner, fine. But Braun, you just released someone named Braun Strowman, who has a big name value in WWE. So why are you giving another guy Braun again?
Yeah, just spelled differently.
Yeah,
that's it. I mean, like, yeah, Rex Breaker. I mean, that is almost, yeah. I'm not going to fancy book, but yeah.
A lot of people are hoping. I don't really have a problem not using the Steiner name. I wish they would, but I'd rather get rid of it. You keep Breaker, get rid of Braun. But anyways, big shout out Christian Casanova, fan of the show. There was a time we have had Leo Connors in the seat.
Yep.
And Christian wrote him a beautiful write-up when we had a Cation show to him too. So great guy. Couldn't be happier for him.
Me too.
Joe Gacy. This is telling you how much I watch NXT and AEW and like skim Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah.
What do you think of the cancel culture gimmick? I kind of like it.
I do like it. I think it reminds me of kind of a modern day version of the right to censor. Do you remember that? With when they had was it Val Venus and The Godfather and stuff? Yeah.
What's his name? Oh my God, Stevie Richards.
Yeah, Stevie Richards. Yep. And it was, I think, Ivory or something. Yeah.
I think Ivory came in. You had The Good Father because they weren't allowed. There were so many complaints about the Godfather gimmick that they
changed it. Yeah. So I think it could have a similar appeal to that, where he's getting heat off of the cancel culture, and everything that happened it is kind of intertwined with it, like we were talking about earlier. And it could be kind of provocative in that sense, where you've got some people, loving to hate him, or just some people just straight up hating him. So like it could be one of those things where give it a little bit of time, and he could be it could be something pretty wild. But it's funny too, because he was kind of like he was a former CZW champ, so like going from that from CZW, which is this crazy death match kind of company, to this gimmick is really it's a big change in direction, and he seems like he's loving it. So we'll see. It could be really a funny thing if they're trying to do that, kind of like I was talking about earlier, those kind of WWE gimmicks, I guess, in NXT, because for so long, and not even so long, but the past couple of years, it really was, NXT was this kind of like super indie.
You cheer both people.
Yeah.
You need a heel and a baby face,
It was Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, with a big budget. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with it. I love that. That AEW has a lot of that. But I think they are truly going back to this being a developmental brand. Yeah. And WWE knows what it does well, and I think they've realized that there is a competitor that can maybe utilize those other talents who work better with either the indie style or that long-term storytelling in a better way. So
I'm loving NXT 2.0. I really am so far. Any take on AEW president Tony Khan? He's really trying to be like a modern day Eric Bischoff right now, where he's kind of trash talking WWE.
I've noticed that recently, and listen, I love All Elite Wrestling. I think Tony, I think he's kind of seeing the fruits of his labor starting to pay off for him, and I think that's great. And what I would like for him to do is make sure that he stays humble in that.
Unless he's building to be a character.
Unless he's building this and taking this to be a character on TV, which I think they implied that he never was going to be past the guy who comes out and just signs a match or this or that. He was never going to be that Vince McMahon, Shane McMahon authority figure within the storylines. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. And I do think he kind of wishes the best and hopes for the best. And I think the thing is, steel sharpens steel. So I think he's hoping that WWE takes it seriously and comes back with a better product, because that will then in turn keep them on their toes and make them produce a better product. Because right now, when you think of professional wrestling, you have, those two are the two big companies in the land, while you have other smaller companies like Impact and Ring of Honor, and Lucha Libre companies, and places like New Japan. They aren't established in the way that All Elite Wrestling is, and
So
don't
fast,
don't have that, don't have that, I guess, audience that they do. So they're really trying to, I think, make it so that they are, competitive, and I think competition benefits all in the long run. So
I totally agree with that. I think it's good for all of us. I will say Tony Khan, when you did see him, because they had that deal with Impact.
Yeah.
When he aired on Impact TV, he would be this cocky little shit.
Yeah. And I think in small doses, I do think that was pretty funny, in the fact that, they were like, okay, you have our talent. I'm paying for this. I'm paying for this commercial spot or whatever.
He showed up with sunglasses on when they were like signing the match, and he's all like, "I don't know about this. Omega's my champion," and really good stuff. Last thing on wrestling, how awesome was it to see CM Punk back?
I think that it was the culmination of a lot of what ifs, and I think we're starting to see, them answered. Can he still go? Absolutely. He had a great match versus Darby at All Out. He had a pretty enjoyable match versus Powerhouse Will Hobbs, and I think that if he can keep that up, and there's plenty of opportunities for him to have great matches in All Elite Wrestling, he could probably go for 52 weeks straight and have a different match with everybody on the roster, and not have the same match twice, and not have, and not wrestle the same person twice. There's that much opportunity open to him.
And he got to wrestle Daniel Garcia the other day, which Daniel Garcia, if you're Limitless Wrestling out of Maine, big one. He's one of like the Buffalo Boys.
The Butcher and the Blade.
So I think MJF's having a lot of impact on who they're signing, because these are all like MJF guys.
Oh yeah,
or friends of his. The only other thing I want to ask you on the CM Punk, did you catch? Now I know the internet was a buzz that Darby and Punk copied the 1-2-3 Kid Bret Hart match from Raw '94.
I saw that.
Like very, very similar match.
The him sitting up straight, and I'm like, okay, all right, this is what's happening. Yeah, I did.
Kudos to whoever figured that out, because I haven't seen that match in 20 years.
Yeah, I saw it pop up on Twitter, and I was like, oh, that's a great throwback. That's a great throwback. So, and I think it's great to see him actually enjoy pro wrestling again. Yeah. Because there was so long where, people would chirp at him on Twitter or social media, and he was just like, I don't care right now, go away type of thing. Now he's back, and he seems genuinely happy, and that's awesome, and that's exactly what I hope for him. So
no, it's been really great seeing him back. Getting into sports, a name we don't really like to talk about on this show because I can't stand him, but he's in the headlines again. The flat earther himself, Kyrie Irving, not getting vaccinated. Fine. Nets are basically saying, all right, fine, you can't play in New York without this anyways. Now he's saying, who's going to say this to my face, and I'm not retiring. Your take on Kyrie Irving. Should we stop wasting our breath on this guy?
Yeah, I think we should have long time ago. The thing with Kyrie, too, it was, he refused to get vaccinated, and they were like, okay, so you can't play in New York because that's like
a mandate.
That's a mandate. And then he was like, all right, I'll just play the away games. I'll play the out-of-state games. And then I heard something like his teammates were just like, nah, man, like, just don't worry. Like, and they were kind of expecting he was expecting his teammates to kind of back him up because he sees himself as this leader. And I don't know if that's necessarily the case. I almost think he's kind of, I don't want to say delusional, but he's the type of, I feel like he's the type of guy who sees himself for more than, he really is. Yeah. I think he's the type of person, for how talented he is, he has never been told no, probably. So it gets to it gets to a point where he's probably, I'm Kyrie Irving, I'm an all-star, and it gets to the point where it's like, hey man, like, people can only take so much, and your actions do have consequences, and whether or not you agree to, that there should be a mandate or there shouldn't be a mandate or whatever, that's what they're saying. And if you're going against it,
and just retire, or you can go away until maybe they say not everybody needs to be that. I don't know, but I will say, Kyrie Irving is a jackass.
Can you say that on podcast?
We can say it, all right? We don't need to dub that out. Yep, Justin says we're good. I think I've said that on the show many, many times, how I feel about Kyrie Irving. He likes to create false narratives that don't exist. He's a jackass. And you know what? Don't get vaccinated, Kyrie. No one wants to hear from you. The Kevin Durant right now is going to be like, I can't believe that I want to team up with this guy. Yeah. Neither here nor there. Patriots get a big win over the weekend, beating the Texans. We got Dallas this week, who's red hot.
Oh, yeah.
Can Mac and the boys get over Dallas?
I think so. First off, I'm going to that game this week.
I'm
super excited.
So jealous right now.
I'm very excited.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Dak is playing great. They're 4-1, right?
Yeah. I believe so, yeah.
And
they haven't beat any great teams yet, though.
No. Yeah. And the thing is, we would, we're a single fumble and a doinked field goal from having the same record, having the same record. So yeah, we do have some deficiencies, but I definitely think that there's potential for the Pats to take this. I'm really surprised, and I mentioned it this past week on our show that I don't think it's out yet, but
spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert. I was surprised with how well the offensive line played this past weekend, especially with, I think the only, starter that you had there was David Andrews. So
yeah, they were wiped out.
Yeah, so it's like Mac's done really well. He's not, he's a rookie. He's a rookie, and I think he's doing a great job of playing football and playing quarterback as a quarterback who could have a long career in the league and not, going down the same route of a lot of these kind of mobile quarterbacks in the past couple of years. I don't even want to say past couple of years, past decade. Look at RG3. Look at,
they don't last forever.
Yeah, no, they don't last that long. They have a great couple, rookie years, and then, injuries mount up, that kind of stuff. And I think Mac is aware of that, and Mac has the football intelligence to, realize I can't be breaking away, every other play. I can't be trying to scramble and go for those extra yards or stuff, or I'm gonna be, I'm not gonna have a job in 4 or 5 years because I'm not gonna be able to move. I'm not gonna be able to throw the ball, even towards the end of it, I like Cam Newton. His throwing mechanics just seemed off by the end.
He was never the same.
Yeah. So
if we could have got Cam Newton 2016, we would have made a serious run. I think.
He's a former MVP. Yeah.
So I'm excited for it.
Me too.
I gotta say, I do think over the weekend though, the Texans coaching is why ultimately the Texans lost that game. There was so many questionable decisions.
Yes.
Watching that game, being like, what are these coaches doing? They go for a 50-yard field goal at one point. Then they tried to fake out a punt. Then they were going for it constantly. And I was like, this is eventually going to bite them.
Yeah, and the thing too is between that, like they coached themselves to a loss. It's not that we, yeah.
Like they gave it. I felt like at one point I'm like, you're giving us the game because this coaching is horrible.
Mm-hmm. Because our secondary was not what it should be. Is a J.C. Jackson drop, let up a couple
There are
of
those
big
things
plays
that,
where it's like
fumbling at the one.
yeah, it's
know?
is he deserving of that kind of number one cornerback spot?
Yeah.
To be determined.
Yeah.
It's not a guaranteed thing. He's not Gilmore, or Gilmore when he was the defensive player of the year, Gilmore. But yeah,
I might even just pass on talking about Gilmore because
yeah.
Come on, Bill. Come on.
Yeah.
Red Sox are back in the ALCS.
Mm-hmm. Game 1 tomorrow.
Going against the cheaters themselves, the Houston Astros. Though I think that Astros have now proven it wasn't just cheating that has led to their success.
Yep.
I will give them that. You like the Red Sox chances?
I do. After, like that wild card game, I was, I see us winning that. Yeah,
The one game?
Yeah, the one game playing. After the game 1 down in Tampa, I was like, oh man, like Eduardo Rodriguez can't even, pitch 2 full innings and stuff. I'm like, this is going to be a long series. And then, game 2, they just something flipped the switch and they were off to the races. And
until it comes down to the 9th inning, 2 nights in a row,
They win. And I think they're started like they've got that momentum now, where it's reminding me of kind of that the Band of Bearded Brothers kind of.
Yeah.
There's something there where the sum of its parts are more than individuals, and I think that's kind of been a theme of all these Red Sox teams, maybe outside of like the 2004 team where you had all those kind of heavy hitters and
that was insane.
But yeah, it reminds me of those like the 2013 and the 2018 rosters, and they might be able to pull something through, just out of sheer will.
I'm super excited. I've admitted on this show several times I did not follow like I followed box scores and stuff, but I was not watching every night.
Yeah,
I will admit that.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they can get past the Astros. I can't stand the Astros. This goes back before the cheating.
Mm-hmm.
We had a little altercation with some Astro fans in Cooperstown, New York.
Oh.
We had dubbed them the nerds. If you're an Astros fan, you are a nerd, and you will always be a nerd. Do you have any favorite sports moments? Obviously, we've had a ton in this area.
I mean,
or one that sticks out the most.
I mean that 28-3. I think out of the past couple of years, 28-3. That interception by Butler.
Jeez, we've seen so much.
Yeah. I mean, even after the marathon stuff, David Ortiz.
I was there for that.
This is our city. That kind of there's just so many iconic moments that it's hard. As a fan, I think we really are spoiled at times. It's a great. It's great to be a Boston fan. It's great to be a New England fan. Yeah.
We really have been spoiled. Mm-hmm. There's so many moments.
Oh, yeah.
It's just insane. Which, if you would have told me when I was even 13 years old, I wouldn't have believed you.
Yeah.
You a fan of the Halloween movies?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, as you can probably see, I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
We always got Michael Myers on the table, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Halloween Kills comes out tomorrow, and I'm telling you, I'm going to try to get there early, like as soon as I got to work so I can go back and watch the Red Sox.
Yep.
Because I can't see this movie on Peacock first. I need to be in a theater,
Yep.
watching Michael Myers slaughter everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Are you excited for this movie at all or anything?
You know what? More so than just the movie in and of itself, what I'm really happy and excited about is just being back in the movie theaters and actually
so
being
awesome.
back to this sense of normalcy, not normalcy, but normalcy to a degree, and that things are starting to get back to the way they were. And one of the, like, going to the movies was one of my favorite things to do with my wife. You know, like,
I'll go by myself. Like, I just love
Yeah.
the theater.
Yeah. And it's great now that we have Merrimack's, you know, the Apple Theater cinemas just opened up, where the old Cinemagic was. I think we went the first night they were open. And yeah, it's great just to be back at the movies. Will I try and see that? I'll probably try and see it in theaters. I think that horror movies are some of the best movies to see in theaters, just because it is one of those things, you've got the audience, and if you do have a bigger audience, you know, people getting scared, people jumping out of their seats, throwing popcorn. Yeah, it's great.
I can't wait. I mean, I went to the new Halloween 2018, and there was a guy dressed as Michael Myers. I'm taking selfies with this guy. I'm getting all these pictures. This one lady's like, get him out of here.
Yeah,
I'm not leaving until he's in his car. I'm like, dude, it's a kid. He's just really tall. He's sitting with his mom and dad. He's not Michael Myers.
It's fake blood. It's ketchup.
Like, you know? But yeah, I'm very excited. Just to let people know, we will be doing a live stream on Monday night on the Let Freedom Ring live stream reviewing this movie, Halloween Kills. So, real quick, because I want to get into blank versus blank, do you have a top 5 favorite movies?
Top 5 favorite movies. I would say, yeah, so I could give you a couple. Harry Potter and Goblet of Fire. I think it's probably my favorite in the series. Solid tie between Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift and Fast 5.
Okay.
Yeah, the Bad Boys 2.
Okay,
Bad Boys
I do love
2.
that.
Let me see, two more. I'd say Black Hawk Down, one of the best war movies I think ever made. And just gotta go Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's my favorite of the Star Wars. Top 5 TV shows?
TV shows, okay. Let's go. I would say, I got MTV's The Challenge.
Okay.
Love it. Really liked Game of Thrones up until the last season.
I've heard this.
Let's get, trying to think of a couple more. I mean, I'd take the easy route and say All Elite Wrestling, Dynamite.
Yeah.
Like, does that count?
I look forward to it. It's Wednesday. You know what that means.
You do know what that means. And then, oh man, it is, like, that's tough. Like, I'd have to say, like, probably the first, 7 or 8 seasons of The Simpsons, and another one up there. These are probably in no specific order, but Law and Order, SVU.
Oh,
Love me some Mariska.
I love the reunion.
Yeah.
I actually hadn't watched since Stabler left, but when he came back, I was like, yeah, I'm watching.
Okay.
I got to get back into it. It's hard for me to watch shows because I do the show, work late some nights, I'm at softball. Let's get into blank versus blanks, my favorite segment of the show.
Sure thing.
I'm going to give you 2 things. You've got to pick one and tell me why.
Okay.
World Wrestling Entertainment or All Elite Wrestling?
Ooh. Currently, All Elite Wrestling.
Fair enough. It has been better. Now, if one goes away, could you live without WrestleMania? Because AEW doesn't have that big event yet.
Yeah, they've got. I want to say All Out, which is kind of almost their equivalent. I don't know. I like WWE for the spectacle, so like I do like WrestleMania as a show, and same with like Royal Rumble, like those big 4 pay-per-views. I love that. Whereas AEW, I kind of do appreciate the week-to-week, builds and stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas WWE has these just spectacular moments, things that you wouldn't see anywhere else. So
I really do hope AEW eventually. I don't think All Out is, that's not a showcase of the Immortals. That's not. It's not a Starrcade to me. That's not a Bound for Glory to me. It's certainly not a WrestleMania to me. So hopefully they come up with something. Two two champions just dominating this year. The cleaner, Kenny Omega, or the tribal chief, head of the table, Roman Reigns.
Ooh. So in terms of straight wrestling, like work rate, I like Kenny. I like his matches more. In terms of the overall character, I kind of got to go with Roman. I've loved his heel turn. They are doing, I think, exactly what they kind of should have been doing years ago with him. I remember seeing, like, it's been posted all over the internet multiple times, this kind of clip back before he was Roman, like the Roman Reigns you used to know, of him being this kind of like cocky suit wearing kind of guy back in NXT or FCW, I forget which one.
Yeah.
And he's got charisma, and it's like I think now it's just like they kind of just let him go with it and
stop writing. They're writing such corny material.
I think they were looking for him to be a John Cena type, where that's not him. I think he's closer to almost like that Hollywood Rock kind of heel persona type of thing.
I totally agree, and you can't recreate John Cena because that's just kind of who John Cena is. Kind of the guy that he plays on TV.
Yeah.
Who wins in a showdown, Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees?
Ooh. Michael Myers.
All right. If they're both like human.
Yeah, if they're both human, I think Michael Myers.
All right, I like that. You can only watch one for the rest of your life: the Patriots or the Red Sox.
Ooh. I think I gotta go Patriots just for the entertainment factor. I'm a lot more invested in a Patriots game than or in 17 Patriots games than I am 160 something Red Sox.
As time
is it quantity versus quality for me? I guess.
As time has gone on, like when I was younger, I could watch baseball every night. It's not like that anymore.
Well, no, between the commercials and stuff, the games are so drawn out too. It's like. It's one of those things where it's like, I can have it on in the background, if I'm doing something, but it's like, it can't be just my center of attention.
No, I agree. Who's more responsible for the success of the 20 years of the New England Patriots? Tom Brady or Bill Belichick?
I had one of my coworkers ask me this today, and it's not black and white,
This is a
not
tough
black
question.
and white.
I loved it to ask.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, that's such like such a tough question because I truly do believe it was the sum of its parts. If I had to go in the cause for when it comes down to it, the execution, I'd have to say it's on Tom for being the one out on leading the team, making the plays, because Bill could coach, whomever.
And was the GM.
Yeah. So I'll go with Tom for now.
Okay.
I'll go with Tom for now.
All right. Tom's getting a lot of the love these days because of how the Buccaneers are doing, how we've been doing. I will say that when I ask that question. Hulk Hogan or The Undertaker?
I think in his prime, Hulk. I think for the overall career, Taker.
All right. Better stable, the New Day or the Four Horsemen?
For me, I think the New Day, just because I experienced it when it was happening. I think I think I'm old. I don't think I'm old enough that I experienced the Four Horsemen when it was happening.
See, the Horsemen that I grew up with was Flair, Arn, Pillman, Benoit.
Yeah.
Because
the late WCW.
Yeah, because like the Horsemen had already been done. Flair had gone to WWF by the time I started watching wrestling. They didn't reunite the Horsemen until probably like '95.
Yeah, and I don't think I started watching WCW until I want to say Wolfpack.
Okay, '98.
So NWO had already been there. Outsiders had already been there. A lot of my knowledge from that time before I went back and watched it, when I got older, was from like the Nintendo 64 wrestling games,
Oh,
like
really?
WCW, NWO Revenge, and World Tour and stuff. That's where a lot of my knowledge came from. And actually, it's funny because like I've had a huge love of Chris Jericho my entire life. You know, like him coming to the WWF and WWE, that first promo,
Calling out The Rock.
calling out The Rock. Like I knew him from those games, and I was like, absolutely, that's what got me interested in WCW back then. And yeah, so.
All right. Go through these real quick. Ric Flair or Stone Cold Steve Austin?
Stone Cold.
Didn't even blink on that
Stone
one.
Cold.
Is that fair enough to say one of your favorites of all time?
Yes, absolutely.
Better tag team. The Young Bucks, and they get compared to this other team a lot, and I think one is personally ahead of the other, but we'll see what your opinion is. Or the Usos.
Ooh.
I like to have a little AEW versus WWE
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Both great teams. I think after Out and that cage match between the Bucks and the Lucha Brothers, I'll have to go with the Bucks just because that was one of the craziest matches I've ever seen. I saw their ladder match probably almost 5 years ago in Lowell. They did a ladder match between the Young Bucks, the Motor City Machine Guns, and the Addiction.
Oh, wow.
And it was for the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championship, and just absolutely crazy, high spot after high spot. But the Usos are an amazing team as well.
I get a lot of crap for saying I think the Young Bucks are the greatest tag team of this generation, personally. Someone was trying to tell me they're not even stars, but
Wow.
we got short on time. Last one, this is the hardest one.
Okay.
Feet to the fire. We don't try to put your feet to the fire on this one.
Yeah.
John Duncan or Brian Duncan?
No comment. No comment. Get this off. I was like Kathleen, I don't know my sister.
No, I've known, and like I said, I've known the Duncan family going back probably 25 years or so.
Yeah.
But Will, I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Dan,
This has
thanks
been
for
awesome.
having me.
I would love to have you back
Oh
sometime.
yeah, whenever.
So, but everybody out there, again, if you're asked to wear a mask, wear a mask. Get vaccinated. Can we stop with this? And I hope everybody has a great week, except for Soapy Pre-Op. But until next week, let freedom ring.